Hi folks, I'm Chris Marshall with Woodworkers Journal magazine. We all use sheet materials in our projects from time to time, like this cabinet project I'm building. They're affordable, versatile, and strong. But they can be a challenge to work with if you're in a small shop setting or using a portable table saw like this. How do you break down 4x8 sheets of plywood safely and accurately? After all, a 3/4 inch sheet of MDF weighs almost 100 pounds, and a 1/4 inch sheet of plywood is about as stiff as a wet noodle. Well, there are a few tips and tricks that you can follow to improve your accuracy and safety when working with sheet materials. And the first one is, if space allows for it, take your sheet materials to the floor first and cut them up with a circular saw instead. You'll improve your safety and your accuracy. And when weather permits and you don't have room in the shop, take them outside instead and cut them up there. And once you're outside, you can set up for plywood cutting wherever it's convenient for you. Out in the yard, on your driveway, or even on the sidewalk, wherever you've got a lot of room to work. I like to use a sheet of this 2-inch thick insulation board that you can get at any home center, and it offers a couple of nice advantages for cutting up plywood. You lay it right on the ground and lay your plywood on top of that, and it gives you good sturdy support under the whole sheet, which is particularly useful when you're cutting up some thin plywood that tends to be real floppy. You can set the depth of your circular saw blade deep enough to cut right into the insulation board and it won't damage the teeth of your blade, and you'll get a nice clean cut on the bottom of the sheet of plywood, which of course is also what you want. And then when you're done using that insulation board, cut it into some smaller pieces so you can store it in the rafters of your garage shop, in the back of a closet, or even under your workbench. You can use it again and again, and it's very helpful. Also, when you're cutting up plywood, now isn't the time to use a cheap blade in your circular saw. What you want to buy is a blade intended for finish cuts or for cutting specifically plywood. It should have 40 to 60 teeth and be nice and sharp. I also use a straight edge guide that I've made for my particular saw. It's just a base of 1/4 inch plywood with some sandpaper glued to the bottom of it and a guide rail on the top. And the distance from the edge of the guide rail to the edge of the base matches the distance from the edge of my saw's foot to the blade. So it's sized specifically for my saw, and it'll give you an arrow straight cut every time. So once you're all set up, all you have to do is line up your straight edge guide and go ahead and make your cut. And once you've cut your sheet goods down into some manageable sized pieces with your circular saw, they're ready for final cuts here at the table saw. It's always a good idea to cut your work pieces a little bit larger than you need and make the final clean cuts here. So the next time you're working with sheet materials, try these tricks out. It should improve your accuracy and safety, and you'll maximize every square inch of that quality plywood. Thanks for watching.